my lovelies. Are we ready to get a little core work on? Well, then let's go and do that. So we're going to start today's class in child's pose. So we want to see if today's a day we prefer the knees together, or maybe the knees are apart. We let the hips start to sink back, and we might find they sink back and down. Great time to check in if we're getting any pinching sensations in the hips. If the knees are saying no for whatever reason, we want to bring those hips back up, and maybe we're in a more of a floating child's pose. Otherwise, we can let everything sink back. If it's comfortable for the head, we let the head drop down to the mat. We give ourselves a moment for those 3 deep breaths, that deep inhale, and that deep exhale. Repeating inhale, exhale. One more time at our own pace. And then as we're ready, we're coming up to our tabletop position. So just noticing what's going on with the wrists. If it's comfortable, we're letting those hands be underneath the shoulders. If we're feeling pinching sensations here, we want to walk those hands out, lessening the angle for that wrist. So as we're ready, we're going to come into our cat-cow movements. And we can keep it orthodox at first. We'll drop the belly down as the tailbone and gaze lift. And we'll round the back, letting the tailbone and gaze drop. And we start to repeat this at our own pace. And we notice if there's anything we'd like to add on. And maybe what we need to add on today is just that reminder to breathe into one pose. Breathe into the other. And that might mean an inhale to drop the belly. And an exhale to round the back. If we feel like adding on today, maybe we play around with the pressure in our hands. Maybe as we're coming into cat, we press those hands into the mat. And as we come into cow, we relax those hands, letting the belly drop. Repeating that, it might even feel like we're pressing the hands so much into the mat that that's what rounds the back. And then we just let it relax as the belly drops. We feel like we have further to go. Maybe as we're coming into cat, we press those hands into the mat. We press the tops of our feet into the mat. And maybe they press so much into the mat, the knees lift a little bit. With control, it all comes down. We let the belly drop. And we repeat that a few more times at our own pace, knowing that we're only adding on what we need, listening to the body. And then as we're ready, we can bring ourselves back to our table. A great time to check in, noticing what's going on with the wrists. Maybe we need to circle those wrists out. Maybe they need a little bit of a stretch, so we bring the top of the hand down onto the floor, just one at a time, gentle stretch. We might even like to make fists and straighten the fingers out. And then we can play around with our core work a little bit more. We'll take that left leg, we're bringing it along the length of our mat, and we're letting the top of the foot come down, little ballerina's point. If it works for the body, we're pressing that foot into the floor, noticing what activates, maybe something along the leg or the side of the torso. Can that stay as we bring the leg up? So whether we want to keep that toes pointed or keep those toes, or flex those feet, I should say, matter of personal preference. As we're ready, we're going to bring that knee into the chest, pausing, seeing if we can round the back, letting the head drop. One more breath here. As we're ready, we'll bring that leg back, and we'll get ready to repeat that. We'll bring that knee into the chest, pausing, maybe a little pressing through the hands, rounding the back, and then we'll send that leg out. One more time, knee comes in, we pause, pressing through those hands, maybe that's what's rounding the back. And then we'll send that leg out one more time. If we feel like adding on, maybe we take that right hand and we let the right hand reach. Checking in, are we holding the breath to hold this pose? If that's the case, we're bringing that hand down. One more deep breath here. And if we have that hand up, we're bringing it down. We'll bring down that leg. And again, just noticing what we need. We want to roll out wrists, sway hips. Do we need to stretch out those wrists? And then we'll try that on the other side. So as we're ready, that right leg is coming out and down, little ballerina's point. Pressing the top of the foot into the mat. What do we feel activate? Can we keep that activation as that leg comes up? Again, pointed, arc, or flex. That's a matter of personal preference. As we're ready, that knee is coming into the chest. We pause, little rounding of the back, dropping the head. As we're ready, we'll send that leg behind us. Repeating that 2 more times. Knees coming in, rounding the back, maybe pressing those hands into the mat as we round the back. And then we'll send that leg behind us. 1 more time, we'll do that. The knee comes in, pressing through those hands. Sending the leg out 1 more time. If we feel like adding on, maybe that left hand reaches as well. Again, checking in, can we still breathe? And we are asymmetrical creatures. One side is going to be a little more stable, one side will be more wobbly. And then as we're ready, everything comes down, that hand, that knee, and again, just checking out. Do we want to roll out the wrists right now? Do they need a little wrist stretching? And then we can give ourselves a moment in that child's pose, just readjusting those knees however we need to, letting everything sink back. Our chance for that deep inhale. And that deep exhale. One more time, that deep inhale. And deep exhale. So we can bring ourselves back up to table. If it works for us, we're going to do that again, only now from downward facing dog. So we bring those hands out, we let those fingers spread wide, maybe a little pressing of those finger pads into the mat. We'll curl the toes, we're going to let those hips sink back, and maybe they sink back and up. We just notice what we need. We might need to pedal out the heels right now. And so we're going to start first with a deep bend into the knees, letting that lower back relax. With the knees bent, we're going to bring up that right leg. And maybe the legs stay bent. Or maybe we're pressing that foot into the mat and both legs extend. As we're ready, we're going to bring that knee into the chest as we roll to a plank position, pausing here. As we're ready, we're unwinding, coming back to a down dog split. Doing that 2 more times, the knees coming into the chest, pausing, maybe a little press through the hands here, a little rounding of the back. And as we're ready, we'll come back to that down dog split. 1 more time, we bring that knee in, pressing through the hands, maybe even a little press through those left toes. And we'll send that leg back 1 more time, 1 more breath. And then that leg can come down. Great time to see what we need. Do we want to pedal out the heels, come out of down dog for a moment? And then as we're ready, we'll do that on the other side, softening the knees, now bringing that left leg up. Maybe the legs stay bent. Maybe we press through that right foot so much that both legs straighten. As we're ready, the knees coming into the chest, we roll to plank, we pause, and then we can send it back. 2 more times, we're bringing that knee into the chest, pausing, maybe a little pressing through those hands, rounding through the back, and we'll send that leg back. 1 more time, we're bringing that knee in, pausing, pressing through those hands, maybe a little pressing through those right toes. And we'll send that leg back 1 last time, 1 more breath. And then that leg can come down. Again, maybe a little pedaling out of the heels. And we'll all come out of our down dog. We're going to bring those knees down. Again, just seeing what we need for that child's pose, maybe together, maybe apart. We let the hips sink back. And we give ourselves a chance for those 3 deep breaths. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhaling. Exhaling. Repeating this 1 more time or as many times as we would like. And that is it for now, my lovelies. Stay balanced.